Towards the end of his life, he realized that not everything was black or white. You know, he was certain about some things in his early life that later on he realized, hey, there's two sides to everything. So just being open-minded, you know,
Open-minded.
that sort of really stuck with me. And the idea of his continuously evolving circle of friends. Bonjour, welcome to the book club for our review of Walter Isaacson's Benjamin Franklin, An American Life.
An American hero.
An American boy.
Yeah.
Born and bred and created America.
Although he lived most of his life in Europe.
Yes, most of his life.
Yeah. Wow.
So we've spent the last 3 weeks reading this book. We're going to talk about what we learned from the book, right? We'll discuss a few topics today. So we'll start off by talking about America. Was Benjamin Franklin's vision for America maintained throughout the years? You know, when it was created in 1776, was it?
I think so.
Yeah. So when he created the vision for America, he talked about the middle class being the main voice. Does that still remain true today? Number 2, we're going to talk about what did we learn from this book and from Benjamin's life that we can apply in our lives today and in our businesses.
Yeah.
So let's get to it, gentlemen. Does Benjamin's vision for America remain true today? Is the middle class still in control?
I think my ultimate answer is yes, but it's only because it's different. It's driven differently now through social media and through the media. A lot of things are influenced by the middle class, and it's not just it's not just corporations dealing with things. There's probably less bribery and influence from the big corps because of the middle class influence.
Because of social media.
In the media, right? That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying there's none of it happening right now. Like big pharma, obviously there's probably a lot of stuff going on in the back end. There's probably a lot of stuff going on in the back end of social media as well, what's being distributed. But it gives the middle class more opportunities.
I would think that throughout the years, probably it went slowly but surely away from that, from the middle class controlling, and people that had money were now more in charge. You could influence elections. You spend more money on, advertising your party and yourself for the election. But with social media, it's given back the power to the poor, to the middle class, because now they can influence it. They can put it out there. It doesn't cost any money.
Yeah,
and it makes a huge difference. Before the last 2 presidents, it was the same. Like we were talking about this earlier. Like same families were coming back as president and in the high end of politics in the U.S. But now Barack Obama wasn't part of that. Donald Trump, massively rich, but it's not the same gang as before, right? It's not the Bushes and the different breeds. So I think it's coming back. Yeah,
and it's really like at the end of the day, most people they are on Facebook more than they are watching TV.
Okay.
Right? Like whatever you see on TV, you can easily find online now. If there's a nice kit on CNN, it'll appear on Facebook.
Yeah.
It'll make its way there. Like I think there's like 84 million subscribers to Facebook.
No, there's more than
billions. Oh yeah,
Well, it can't be 84 billion.
So
there's 7 billion in the world.
I think there's over 1 billion users weekly. Different people.
Oh,
yeah.
That's like 1/7 of the world population.
If it was a country,
Exactly.
If it was a country, it'd be the 3rd biggest country in the world
For weekly users.
Are you guys sure about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For hell.
She doesn't hear us.
Yeah.
So my opinion on that is that in some ways the middle class has lost control of their government.
Okay.
It has gotten way too big. There's some people that do rise up, right? And they come from the middle class and then they get into positions of power, but you hear it all the time. There's so much red tape. I can't get anything done. I can't really change anything, So there's something that happens where they've got 2.4 billion monthly active users on Facebook.
So here's the thing. We don't see many revolutions anymore.
Mm-hmm.
The last real revolution that really shaped a country was probably Cuba, right?
Some would say Syria.
Yeah.
But Syria's not anywhere near what Cuba is right now.
Yeah.
No, but like Syria, they overthrew the
They
whole
overthrew the
government.
government, right?
There's Venezuela right now.
Like
It
think
was
some-
happening in Lebanon, then they just started partying. So
but
So,
I
the big
think social
accomplishment.
media is actually bringing that back.
Yeah.
Because people now they have a way of talking to each other
Yeah.
and then organizing rallies.
And that's exactly
Yeah.
that's exactly my point. Like it's but we could do revolutions are coming back stronger now if there are any because of social media.
There is one thing that Benjamin did put into the Constitution, which was the last document that he participated in creating, which was the ability to throw out a president,
Impeachment.
the impeachment process. Before that was created, the only way to eliminate somebody in power was to kill him. So that sort of put in a release valve for any high pressure situations. We're seeing it now. The president was impeached not too long ago. Is that going to do anything? We still don't know.
Well, he's still running.
Still there.
Probably not going to go through.
Probably not going to go through. But do you think that the fact that he was impeached sort of released some pressure?
Well, what empowered the middle class?
I guess now it's a left and right issue, right?
But I think it might have taught him a lesson.
Maybe.
Just saying like you can't do everything you want.
Yeah.
Like there are some things you can't do.
Yeah.
It's just it's not going to happen, right? That you can't do that. So I'm not an expert in American politics. I follow the news, which might be right, might be wrong. You never know. From what I read, I think he might have been wrong on a few things.
Yes.
But at the same time, his friends are controlling the Senate, so it's probably never gonna happen. But at the same time, the U.S. population elected that Senate, so it is what it is.
Yeah.
And that is the middle class.
That is the middle class, and he got in through the middle class, not the rich.
Yeah.
So is it going to be the same thing in 2021? We'll see.
This year,
20. Sorry, 20.
Yeah, we're not. None of us are American. I try not to talk too much about American politics, especially on this podcast. But we are reading one of the founding fathers.
Well, I think especially since we don't really know. Like
Yeah.
we're not experts in it.
Yeah,
Like what I just said is something I read. Like it's not like I'm not an expert in it.
We're
so.
from the outside looking in. And I think they've lost a bit of control. But because they're being influenced by whatever big money has to throw at them. And Facebook is a good tool, but it's also got a flip side where they could be the main population could be seeing stuff that, is being pushed out by people with money.
Okay.
So the advertisement is being spent, and then they're being brainwashed in a specific way.
Here's an example. Here's a question. Is there a group, whether it's cultural, whatever, is there a group right now that is openly being discriminated against in the US or Canada?
I'd say all groups are being discriminated against, but different levels.
Or from a different perspective.
Yeah.
Like what? Give me an example.
Well, I mean, there's obvious examples, like there's white supremacy groups
Right.
that obviously discriminate against anything that's,
Because they promote hate, right?
yes.
Okay, but I'm talking about, like the blacks or the LGBTQ, whatever.
Yes.
Or the, women,
Yeah.
right? Like everything is almost, like nobody will openly discriminate. Whereas 70 years ago, people would openly discriminate against them, right? For me, that's empowering the middle class.
So,
Like even the poor doesn't get discriminated against. Even here in Canada, natives wouldn't get discriminated against openly
Today. Okay.
but
It's very rare.
Yeah.
it depends, because some do. There are some groups out there, right?
Like
The
openly
fact-
get discriminated. Like
Oh, like groups that like Facebook groups, advertising stuff, rallies against.
No, but these are hate groups.
Yeah, but they're still there. Not many. Like it's a vast majority that are not openly doing it, but there is discrimination a little bit. I'm from Northern Ontario. I've never lived any of these problems. Like these issues for me was something that was made up on TV before I left.
Yeah.
But it was in a society that was all white, and it was never a problem. And I got here. I got here, and then I'm like, oh, okay, and then it started. I started realizing what it really is. But it's talking to these different groups. I was actually curious. I started asking questions, and they essentially told me that it's 99% of the time it's okay, but then this one time hurts you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the bad apples get a lot of attention. So,
well, the bad apples sell viewers. Like
if somebody does something awful, we'll focus on that horrible thing.
Yeah. And it's sad. It's just, I feel like, I wouldn't, everybody's the same to me. Obviously, everybody's the same to all of us. But, nobody will. It's very hard to see. Remember that story about not the barber, but the restaurant that discriminated against somebody, or the cake guy that didn't want to do a cake for a man that's gay or whatever it was, for a couple that's gay. You see if that goes public, this guy's business is basically ruined, right? People will boycott the business because he discriminated against another youth.
But at the same time, you have those
of course,
other people that are only going to buy there now because
they're just a lot less now.
Oh, absolutely.
But let's be very honest. That happened, that situation, probably 2 years ago.
Yeah.
We're still talking about that situation, but between that time and today, tens of millions of gay people have bought cakes with no issues.
Yeah.
Right? So.
Well, that's my point.
That comes back to
it doesn't happen anymore.
Shit happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
in different places around the world. So the ultimate point here is that in different places around the world, these discriminations still happen openly.
Yeah, you were talking about your experience there back home.
Even that, like if somebody's from a different religion, you can't enter this particular part of the country.
Yeah, that's
right. There's none of that here, man. It doesn't exist anymore.
No.
Not openly, at least. There might be some pockets in the U.S. where if you're not from this part of town, then you can't come in. Mm-hmm. But these things are going to happen. The U.S. is huge.
Or you can come in, but they'll it's a little bit more dangerous for you.
Yeah.
Watch your back.
I feel like that's how the poor to middle class, and these areas are more where the pockets of countries where you're not allowed to come in or whatever, or if you get in, it's very dangerous. Normally it's poor areas, So I feel like in the middle class, there's none of that stuff anymore. Yeah. And the majority of the people, the majority of the population are in the middle class. And that's why I think.
Well, the stronger your middle class, the better the country will be. Because the majority of the people, the GDP is created by them. Like the expenses, what they buy, their purchases. Yeah. It's not the few millionaires or the very poor, it's the middle class.
That's why democracy is important in maintaining a balance.
Yeah.
You want the majority to have the voice.
So was Benjamin Franklin, was he a Democrat?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. There were some people, some founding fathers that were not pro-democracy.
Yeah.
These guys were all from a king.
King background, yeah.
Yeah, they all, praise the king for a certain time in their life. Even Franklin at some point, he was loyal.
Yeah.
He didn't want
80% of his life.
Yeah, he didn't want to separate from the crown.
The best thing that they did is the 4-year term and max 8. Because some people wanted to debate that they wanted that the president be there for life, right? And if you have that, there's going to be a lot of push and shove on who will be the president because it's for life. And then after that, if you have a 50-year-old president that's there for 50 years and he's just a tyrant and wants to change the constitution and puts favors to people. And the other thing, too, is one law that they have in there is if you're a president, you cannot act in your business. So like Trump right now, technically, he's not supposed to know anything about what's going on in his business, so that he can't put rules or laws in that's going to help his business. He's not supposed to. He had to give everything back to his son. I don't think it's happening, but there was, I think it was, I don't remember the president, but I think it was Ronald Reagan, maybe. He was rich, had a lot of money, gave his estates to his family while he was president, and then after everything came back, and he was broke. They lost everything while he was gone.
He was an actor, though.
Well, then that's the wrong guy.
No, Ronald Reagan. Wasn't he? Didn't he make his movie in?
Well, that might, it might not be
movies?
Reagan. It might not be Reagan.
Yeah.
But like, there is a president that was rich,
And then when he left
his presidency, he was broke because
I'm sure they could find a job for him.
And I think that's why Obama was so popular too. It's because he didn't come up rich. I think he really worked. He worked his way up, right? Like he represents a middle class that made it.
And that was one thing that Benjamin Franklin loved about the New America. It was built this way. The Queen of France said right next to him that somebody that came from his background could have never risen to where he is now in France. And he mentioned it was the one thing he was the most proud of.
Social skills.
In America, you can, like, if you work your way through.
Did Louis XVI face his end because people in France were motivated by what happened in America? They didn't talk about that in this book because, the monarchy ended shortly after France got created. After America got created, there was a French Revolution, right?
Yeah.
Possible.
Yeah.
Anyways, when you see it being successful somewhere else.
Let's move on to our second topic for today. After reading this book, what lessons did you guys take away that you'll be implementing in your business or your life?
You want to start?
Sure. I think that the biggest reason that he's been successful and has come from here and ended up there is because of his thirst for knowledge and improvement. He always wanted to be better. Everything he did, he tried to be better as well. And I try to tell myself that every day, especially in the business that we're in. Lots of people think that, you know what, we've done it a lot, we know how to do it. But there's nothing further from the truth. Every couple of transactions, I'm like, oh, okay, that's new. Never seen this before.
Yeah.
Even after hundreds, you're still like, there's still a screw up that can happen.
Yeah.
The way you communicate with your client, the new technology, like keeping in trend with what people think, what they like, how they want to be treated. Like, it's just, this is evolving every day and will keep on evolving. So if you're not trying to improve every day and actually putting it in your calendar, I am going to learn this, and that's the beauty with what we're doing here, because we're reading on new books every day about how to be successful in whatever subject. So yeah, I think just his curiosity and thirst for knowledge and improvement is probably the biggest thing
That you'll learn. From him.
And you know what, if that's the only thing that I get from that book, man, that's a good thing to get.
For sure.
Yeah. I think it was very nice reading about somebody that through his social skills got to where he is, you know. Like, he even studied people's reactions to his comments.
That's
pretty cool.
Like, yeah, he would say things to study the reaction, and I think that's just absolutely brilliant. And he always went for the purpose. Like, he wasn't necessarily concerned whether he was right or wrong. He just wanted to know what was right and wrong, right? Yeah. And I feel like he would get himself into discussions and not many arguments. Although he did have a lot of arguments, obviously he fought with a few people. He just always wanted to move things forward. And if we take that approach in our businesses, just move things forward, stop taking things to heart. Like, at the end of the day, just get over yourself.
Yes.
And work towards your goal, work towards your purpose.
Yeah.
You can excel, and that's what I took from this book. That's what I took from Benjamin Franklin.
Yeah, for me, there's a few things, obviously, a lot of things, but towards the end of his life, he realized that not everything was black or white. You know, he was certain about some things in his early life that later on he realized, hey, there's two sides to everything. So just being open-minded, that sort of really stuck with me. And the idea of his continuously evolving circle of friends, right? The junto, the new friends he would make at dinner parties and stuff like that.
The Masons.
The people with what does he call it? Stimulating minds, right? An interesting mind. I quite enjoyed that fellow. He had an interesting mind.
Yeah.
See? Sorry, I'm speaking French now.
But the one thing about the groups he was creating, most of it was not just networking. It was just trying to get better.
Yeah.
So like they'd meet, like the junto, they'd figure out what subject are we learning about today. Oh, we're gonna learn about how to build a boat better.
Yeah.
Bang! Nobody that's built a boat before are here discussing this. Like your overall knowledge gets so much better if you do stuff like this.
Yeah. So for me, that's one thing, and I think this book club here is a junto.
Yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
us exchanging ideas.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about the same book, but we all have different opinions, and it's causing me to, get a different perspective. I'm sure the viewers that have read this book are sort of getting a different input.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, that's what I'm
For
taking
sure.
away. I think it's that time. We have to rate this book.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Well, one more thing.
Yeah.
We have to mention when he dies.
84 years old? Was
84 years old.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. I have it here somewhere.
83.
April 17th, 1790, at age 84. And we all know he likes to write.
Yeah.
And the last letter that he wrote was to Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States. I found that pretty cool.
Of course.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I found it nuts that 3 of the founding fathers were presidents after, George Washington, John Adams, and then Thomas Jefferson.
Well, it almost feels like it was planned a little bit because when Franklin was speaking about putting terms on the presidency, he was thinking about now it's probably going to be George Washington. Like, how would he know it's George Washington? People already elected him. Like, they talked about it's going to be him. And then he has one way of doing things. But then, the next one's probably going to be John Adams. So we have to restrict because he didn't really like how John Adams would think. So kind of a bit odd that he would know almost already who the presidents would be.
Well, maybe it was a good thing that the men that first took the presidency were all very different. So the Constitution was sort of written in a way that they would keep all their different characters at bay.
Yeah.
I mean, George Washington was a general before he was president. He was a
cool.
very heavy military man.
84 years old, though.
Well,
At
84
that time,
then,
that's-
yeah. There's one thing I had written down is, every time his health was, dwindling down or he had something wrong with him, he was given an assignment, going on a trip somewhere, and people are saying, it's going to kill him. Like, that trip across the sea is going to kill him. But no, he's the first one to be jumping off the ship. He's all energized back because, I think it's a power of having a purpose, something to do. Like, he was all excited to do it again.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I really feel like once you lose your purpose, you start losing your life.
Absolutely.
When he was 60-something, he went up to Canada. Well, he came up to Canada, and he said, I don't think I'll make it back from this trip. He was feeling, like this was the end. But he went on for another
18 years.
Yeah.
What a stud.
But he said that new adventures invigorated his spirits.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. When you got something new going on,
It's
exciting.
amazing.
It's
It is.
exciting.
Well, yeah. And I think we really, he had something new going on every day. Like, he was interested in something new all the time. He was always working on different projects. He was just juggling everything, That keeps you alive. It keeps you alive.
That's another thing I'll take away from this book.
Ah.
Okay, let's give our ratings for the book. So we wrote it all down, and do you guys are you sticking with your note? You sticking with the score?
I don't know.
You're gonna change it now?
I don't know, man. We'll see.
Well, it's now or never. Once it's revealed, it's revealed.
So
Okay, let me change it.
change. Okay.
Yeah.
You good?
I'm good.
You're good? Perfect. So I'll go first. I usually go last. You good, Rami? I don't want to influence your score.
There you go.
Cool. So I'm going to give it 4.55 just because I don't want to give it a 4.5.
It's better than 4.5.
It's better than a 4.5.
Okay.
This book helped me discover who Benjamin Franklin was. I always knew he was an interesting character, but the author here, Walter, does a great job of not painting a rosy picture of the gentleman. He doesn't do the opposite either. He gives a very fair account. One thing I will reproach him is I do believe he was sleeping around with those ladies. And for some reason, Walter denies it continuously.
Well,
He's like,
he was saying that you cannot prove it.
well, I'm sorry. When you're playing chess in the tub with a lady friend,
Yeah.
and
Really chest or chest?
yeah, she's playing, yeah.
You know? Yeah, I don't know. And he was away from his family for such a long time.
He was away from his
like,
wife for 18 years. He enjoyed although he never consummated the relationship. He did enjoy playing.
He jokingly asked her to marry him a few times. Like, get out of here, man.
Like I agree though. He spent a lot of time focusing on notes that prove that it didn't happen.
But he probably wrote those notes as a...
Oh, that's it. That's it. It was
Hiding
like
his
there might
tiger.
have been like a little dot on the note saying burn this one or don't burn this one, and you know what I mean? Like it's just
Man, if you're
we
doing...
were asking who he had the most in common with that lives today, and I think he has a lot in common of the Tiger Woods from a few years ago.
Oh, dear. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. To be honest, for me, I think it still be like it's a fictional character.
Yeah.
And would be Frank Underwood.
Okay.
You know,
Makes sense.
like that's who he reminds me of, like Frank Underwood. But I think Frank Underwood was a little more. You've watched that before? Have you watched this show?
no.
Oh,
I watched the
House
first
of Cards.
2 seasons.
He is honestly probably one of the best actors. Kevin Spacey, one of the best acting performances in a show I've ever seen.
He's very good.
Very.
So what's your rating on this book?
4.2.
Oh, and what was it before?
3.5.
Oh,
So
like
our-
a
our-
smack down.
think, you know
discussion
what,
changed it,
yeah,
or-
I think a little bit. Like, you know, so you both said a few things that I thought of, but then I think you confirmed it for me. And at the end of the day, it's a biography. I never read many biographies, and I think I should read more biographies. I think it was written very well by Walter Isaacson. It's the 3rd book I read from Walter Isaacson. And
Which one did you read?
I read the Steve Jobs and
Einstein.
Einstein. Yeah.
I read Steve Jobs.
Elon Musk wasn't written by Isaacson. It was written by somebody
No.
else. Yeah.
I'm not sure.
No.
Ashley Vance.
Yeah. So anyway, I think, you know, I'm going to be thinking about Ben Franklin when something reminds me of him. Whereas I would have never thought of Ben Franklin before this book, you know? And I think just the importance of being socially active and listening more than talking, I think that deserves a much higher score than what I originally put up there.
Anything in your real estate, like in your mortgage career, that you'll put into practice?
Yes, and so I actually tried to put it into practice these last couple of days. You know, there's a lot of really successful mortgage brokers out there. Just like there's a lot of real successful realtors, lawyers, etc. And the importance of learning from the best and not being jealous of them or resenting them from thinking.
Solid point.
Yeah, you know, like learning from them. You know, talking to them for the purpose of understanding how they're doing things. And even if they're not going to give you much information, they're going to give you enough for you to just take back and work on it and see what you can do to get better.
Yeah.
And it gives me a little push to just try to move the mortgage industry forward, you know, like not just my business forward, but move the entire industry forward, you know, be a name in the industry,
Pioneer.
be a pioneer in the industry. So those are the things that I will take back from Benjamin Franklin in my industry.
What was your rating?
I don't like my rating anymore.
Well, you can't change it.
I know. I should have changed what you changed. I put 4.2 as well.
What was yours?
4.2. It was 3.5. Then I changed it to 4.2.
Wow.
So the reason I
Hold on. Were you gonna bring it up or bring it down?
bring it up,
Okay.
I think the reason I put 4.2 is the 1 minute I think I thought about it was, I was thinking of the content of the book and all that, and I omitted to think about how much research probably went into that book and how much I love Benjamin Franklin.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many hours are going into that book, but it's unreal. It's just, there's so much content and info.
Yes.
And Walter Isaacson is such a great author. Like the Steve Jobs book too. Man,
He's wonderful, man.
And I love that he's not biased. Like the Steve Jobs book was the same thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes he was an asshole, sometimes he was a genius. Like it's just both of them. Like he would tell it like it is, and like
An asshole genius.
pretty much. So it's just 4.2,
What would you bring it up to?
4.5.
It's funny how other people's perspective influence
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that's
your opinion, eh?
Yeah, it's in several books that theory. It's in the book called Persuasion. It's in the book called Thinking Fast and Slow. Like when you're sitting at a restaurant and you're making your order, the people around you's order will actually
Change.
probably make you change your order.
That's so true.
Like if everybody orders a beer but you feel like having a Caesar, you'll probably think, you know what, everybody's having a beer.
I'm not a picky eater, so 90% of the time I won't even open the menu.
You know,
And I'll just
have what they have.
I'll let whoever order, and I'll say, "Oh, that's good."
Yeah.
It's not like you're gonna have a culinary experience, at Boston Pizza.
Yeah, exactly.
So, all right. Well, we're moving on to our next book for next week. It's a short one. It's a beauty.
Yep.
Did you read it already?
I read that book.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's very, very good.
Okay.
Should we bring it up?
Yeah.
Are you gonna announce it?
Yeah, let's announce it. So, pull out all the copies. So, the next book is Make Your Bed from Admiral McCraven. Super interesting. A Navy SEAL. A guy that has 12 lessons in this book about, how to go through your life and being okay with things not being okay, and starting off your day with a small victory. Hence the title, Make Your Bed.
There's a 5-minute Goalcast video on him doing a presentation on pretty much like the theory of Make Your Bed.
Yeah.
And everybody should watch that.
Okay.
So good. Goalcast, and then put just Admiral William.
So would it be a good primer before reading the book?
For sure.
Yep.
Okay,
I've listened to that speech.
Yeah.
I'll put it
Great
in
speech.
the link at the end of this episode
Okay.
so people can click on it.
I look
Guys.
forward for this one. This was awesome.
Yeah, it's a short one, so it'll be fun. As always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell for notifications. Please leave a comment down below. Let us know what you guys are thinking, what your thoughts are on the Walter Isaacson's Benjamin Franklin's book. Any suggestions for the next book that we should be reading. That's it.
Yeah.
So, have we decided on a sign-off?
No.
No?
No, not yet.
Winging it
We
every
need
time.
Chris here.
We do need Chris.
We need Chris here to do that.
Cool. See you next time. Ciao.